Welcome home.
I've been home for 3 months.
As have we all. Okay, so this is a really special episode for us. This is our 10th episode, still in lockdown. I don't know if I should be happy or sad, but we've made it, guys. We're now 10 episodes in.
10?
Didn't think that we'd be able to. Yeah, man, I didn't think that we'd actually do this many episodes, but here we are.
Bitcoin is celebrating with us with the 10,000 breakthrough.
There you go.
10,000, yeah.
That's exactly it, right? So yes, that was us. So to celebrate our 10th episode, Bitcoin hit $10,000 this morning when I woke up. So I was really happy, grateful to Satoshi. Part of the thing that we're also going to celebrate this week is, technically this is our very first sponsored episode because Paxful Philippines has very generously offered to sponsor some giveaways for our viewers. So that means that if you are one of the commenters in the chat, actually, I should let April describe this because this is kind of her gig now. So April, can you describe the rules of the giveaway, please?
Sure. Thanks, Luis. So this is just a small thank you to BloomX for always inviting us to their Bloomcast weekly. So tonight we're going to be sponsoring a $10 worth of Bitcoin giveaway to 3 lucky viewers. So all you have to do is just leave a comment, and then we're going to batch the giveaway. So after every topic, so we're going to give away one. We're going to announce one lucky winner. So, right. Luis, are we starting with the first one already or later?
I'm getting some feedback. Hold on, sorry. I'm getting some feedback that people can't hear us.
Yeah, so it seems like everyone else can be heard, but Luis, when you speak, the mic volume disappears.
Oh, okay. Hold on. All right. So that's a weird little thing.
So we could hear April, we can hear Justin when they make comments, but when you speak, it's gone.
Okay. I'm gonna try talking again. Does anyone?
You're loud and clear with me.
Yeah, it's the streaming software probably, if that's the case.
But Luis, when you speak, the mic volume disappears.
Are you getting
you're
that?
Faint. You're faint.
Yeah.
So we could hear.
That's interesting. Hold on.
Okay, you're good again on the stream.
Okay.
I think it just disappears sometimes.
Oh, that's weird. Okay, that's weird. Sige, wait lang ha. Let's just see if there's anything I can do on this side. Okay. See if okay, guys, people in the audience, if you can hear me speaking now and it's loud and clear, can you please let us know? Otherwise, I'm gonna try to tweak this a little bit more.
That's good. You're working now.
Okay,
it's working.
Great. Okay, great. Sige. Okay, cool. That means they kind of missed my awesome intro. I really worked on that one pa naman. I mean, I don't really want to do it again, but anyway, yeah, and also the joke doesn't work anymore if I do the same thing twice. Okay, so I might you guys might have missed the part where I introduce people, but hopefully as we talk naman, I'll just mention their names again and where they're from, so that if you don't know who they are, we'll get a chance to get to know them throughout the cast. We've only got one news segment today. It's one really important one. Actually, so it's too bad that Michelle Gaba, CEO of PDAX, is not around today to talk about this, but he was actually the one who mentioned this last week. He said he was looking forward to the Goldman Sachs report about Bitcoin that was literally happening the day after our cast last week. So that's why we weren't able to cover it. So you can probably imagine Goldman Sachs, 5th largest bank in the world. They're about, I forget. Yeah, well, they're 5th after Bank of America, JP Morgan, and Citigroup. But they're pretty big, very well respected. So they wrote up a big report about Bitcoin, first time ever. Can anyone guess what the overall sentiment was? Because I was slightly disappointed, or maybe I wasn't disappointed. I don't really know, but let's just say they didn't like it so much, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna read just a handful of things, and then I'm gonna throw it to the panel to kind of talk about it. So the headline was cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, are not an asset class. Number one, do not generate cash flow like bonds, do not generate any earnings through exposure to global economic growth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They actually mentioned very recently, March 12, 2020, just a few months ago, the price of Bitcoin happened to fall 37% in one day. So I guess just broad question first to our panel. Is this surprising to you? Were you expecting that Goldman Sachs was going to find it a little, was going to be very negative on Bitcoin? What do you guys think?
Well, back in 2017, they were very bullish, right, on Bitcoin.
Was that the case? I actually
No. It's about the same stuff.
Is it?
Yeah, they're saying the exact same stuff back in 2017.
Okay.
What they changed when they made that coin, that JP Morgan stable coin, or sorry, internal blockchain settlement coin, whatever. They kind of eased up a little bit on their criticism of.
Oh, you mean so? This is Goldman. You're talking about Goldman, not JP Morgan.
Sorry, Goldman. Yeah. So the same 2017. I'm pretty sure they said more or less the same stuff. For example, citing the illicit users of Bitcoin, and that it's not a meaningful means of exchange. Look, I'm just surprised that they included it in a client call. Right? That's pretty.
Right.
That's it. That's pretty much what we all kind of were surprised by. Pretty surprising that they would be this kind of
concerned.
Like this. You pretty much don't look at it. Don't touch it yet. Sort of feeling. Yeah. But how can you say all this sort of stuff?
The key thing is yet. So the fact that they actually got that as an asset up there, it's just a lot more people are thinking, okay, well, at least they've considered it, and it makes a lot of people look at it.
I mean, I imagine it's because they can't not have an opinion about it anymore. I think that's where it is right now, right? You can't be someone like Goldman and not at least acknowledge that Bitcoin exists. And I guess they already kind of did, as Justin was saying, back in 2017, they already kind of mentioned something. I'm going to move on to the next slide. I'm just going to pull two interesting quotes, no? So they were saying cryptocurrency can be a conduit for illicit activity. I mean, okay, sige.
Cash.
Yeah.
Exactly, right?
In 2019, a Ponzi scheme known as Plus Token collected more than $2 billion from more than 30 million people by promising 10 to 30% annual returns. So, quick side note, if you were watching last week's episode, we were talking about Bitcoin Revolution and Bitcoin Lifestyle, and they were promising something like $1,100 returns per day. So actually, this is
pretty reasonable.
It's actually pretty good.
This can actually happen. In many cases, it does.
I saw a jab at this where someone was saying that Goldman was charged or they laundered like 4 billion or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
right.
bigger than this.
Yeah. Actually, I was going to say that as the 2.8. So, okay, the next statement is in 2019, $2.8 billion in Bitcoin was sent to currency exchanges from criminal entities. So, again, side note on this, building on what Mon was saying, 2 years ago, Goldman Sachs was fined $2 billion because they laundered $4.5 billion of Malaysian taxpayer money. So just to kind of put this all into perspective, that's hardly anyway, so it's slightly strange.
Don't forget the two big banks that were fined, Standard Chartered and HSBC. And they were fined $2 billion each. So how much were they laundering?
Yeah. Well, in the case of the Goldman Sachs case, they laundered $4.5 billion of the Malaysian Sovereign Wealth Fund.
So
it was a pretty substantial amount of money. And I thought the one little bit of trivia that I thought was really funny about that was one of the ways they laundered that money was they co-financed the movie Wolf of Wall Street. And I thought that was so appropriate in a way.
But, cryptocurrency can be used for this, but then cash is probably the easiest one and the least trackable. So there's
sure.
much
Exactly.
more going through cash.
For
money.
sure. For sure. Yeah. Okay. Next. Oops. Sorry. Here you go. And I kind of have the theory that this is the only slide that people really looked at. And you know, so what it says is that the cryptocurrency mania dwarfed historical manias. So Nasdaq rallied 100%. Tulip prices jumped 485%, and Bitcoin does 2,200%, and then Ether does 14,000%. Right? I feel like this is the only slide that people really looked at, because even though Goldman said all of these things about how it could be bad, it could be used for various things, it's volatile, blah blah blah. It feels like this is the slide that people really looked at, if you look at the price this morning, there's a definite possibility that was the case, because I can't really do my Coach Eman impression. He's not with us today because according to him, he started trading again today because the markets were really active. So he literally cannot take his eyes off the screen to spend 1 hour with us. So instead, he just gave me some notes to read, which is like, so basically my job now is to just read other people's notes. Hold on, let me see if I can pull this up. Oh, but I should mention, last week when we did the show, the price of Bitcoin was $8,800. This morning, the price is $10,100. So we did like a $1,300 jump in the space of one week's episode.
And didn't I say it would go up?
Sure.
Did you?
I'm sure we have video evidence one way or the other. I can't actually recall.
In 2 or 3 weeks' time, it will be between 10 and 11,000. So there we are.
Okay, thank you for that. That's a big range, but okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, let me quickly read Eman's notes. First, disclaimer: this is not a financial advice. Okay, so there, I said it. I remember this time. Okay, so he is now bullish on the price. Wow. He said it's a ascending triangle. The breakout has been very confirmed.
I've got a quick chart, Louise, as well, if you want.
Sure. Do you wanna jump? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Wait. Do I have to stop my share? No.
Yeah.
Can you take over?
Yep.
Oh, oops. Wait.
Hang on, how do I do this?
No. You have to take over. There you go.
Yeah. Share.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just one chart. Can you see that, guys?
Yep. I'm just gonna adjust this. There you go. Yep. Go for it.
So he's right. We are this is a weekly time frame, guys, on Bitstamp, all this exchange. So this is really critical this week, guys, because we either bounce back, see how we've been touching this red line. So there's two kind of lines there. And then since our huge drop on March 16, which was the COVID related one, we've been following this blue channel that we've been calling. So this week's going to be really exciting because it's make or break. And if we've got bulls or experts like Eman and a lot of other crypto commentators are saying that, look, we need to stay above this 10,000 mark for about maybe a good few days consolidation or a week, which is good. Because I really thought when we got the candle this morning, that was massive. I thought, this might pull back right away because it got close to that red line, which we've bounced off a couple times, really, the last few times we've touched it. But it's stayed above. So nothing huge. I mean, no huge catalyst, no kind of big change except for maybe global events. Again, with the
what would you say it was?
Well, because look, technicals, they were saying, I was reading stuff like it doesn't make sense because the miners actually increased their selling during this time. But there was one big institution that started accumulating a lot of Bitcoin.
Grayscale, right?
Grayscale, yes. Yeah, Grayscale started accumulating a lot of their coins. So Grayscale is one of those institutional trusts based out of Canada, I think, or I'm not sure.
So Grayscale is Barry Silbert's, one of Barry Silbert's investment companies. So they're New Yorkers, as far as I remember. And they bought 18,000 BTC since the halving.
Yeah.
And what's amazing about that number is that only about 12,000 bitcoins have been mined since the halving. So that they're trying to buy as much of the supply as they possibly can. Yep.
Not the same guys that think it's going to go up to 100,000 by 2021.
I mean, Barry Silbert is that kind of speculator.
That was the report where he said the supply to. He was comparing gold and silver. Was that a different report?
I thought that might be different. I don't know if that was the case. Was it? Okay.
I'm trying to find the article now, but basically they haven't been wrong. They've never been wrong in terms of more like general statistics and.
Okay, Justin.
Just quickly, Grayscale's it's the way that people who are in the stock market in the US can buy into crypto without actually owning the crypto. Quick explanation for the listeners.
That's the GBTC. That's what
exactly.
Right.
So that the ticker on the exchange on the market is GBTC. It usually sells for a premium, so they are kind of like, but it is obviously being sold under a regulated exchange, which gives a lot of people a little bit more security and also tax kind of incentives. So
okay, is that the reason?
Yeah, that's the biggest reason. They can pretty much buy and sell Bitcoin without, if they structure their portfolios correctly without any exposure to taxes.
Nice.
They can use
Okay.
So what else did Eman, because I'm really interested to hear whether he really thinks this red line that we've been touching. Guys, if we break this red line, it's breaking the trend line since the top of 2017. This is the top of 2017 here, which means Mark 10 to 11,000 is nothing. It's going to blast past that if we stay above this.
Well, Eman thinks that if it holds, I'm not sure what the time frame he was talking about when he said if it holds, but like he expects the price to attempt another 11,000 run. So that's something, right?
About dun kay Sir Eman, siguro usually kasi kapag nag-close sa daily time frame ng yung kapag na-hold niya yung 10K, so possible is pwede pang
how long do we have for the daily time frame right now? This is
daily
a weekly
time frame is 8 a.m. dito sa atin sa Pilipinas.
Right.
So we have 13 more hours.
That's a long.
That's
half the day.
So it has to hold for 13 more hours.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right.
Well,
okay, Paolo. Here we go. Time to start buying that Bitcoin.
So I found the report. It was from Plan B. Where they're talking about stock to flow pricing model.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's another one that showed a red dot, right? Mon, maybe you can touch on that. What does the red dot indicate on STS?
The red dot just indicates that it's a bit hard to explain without the graphic, but in his graph there's a dot per month after the halving, and the first dot came in. So it doesn't sound like much. Like this is the end of the month after the halving, but I guess in terms of his formula, that's central to it because he uses that price at the end of the month to calculate his stock to flow. Well, not the stock to flow, but to project the price in in about 18 months or so. He projects that it'll be 50 conservatively.
Okay. All right. So that's Paolo. What are your thoughts on this? You're probably long-term bullish, but what are your thoughts for the next couple of weeks?
Well, actually, I saw a bullish crossover just last week. I typically use MACD with my own settings, but last week I saw a bullish crossover. It was a golden cross. As a pyramid. I'm not a full-time trader, but I saw that, and I was kind of surprised that it happened a little later than I was expecting, but then again, it happened. So I think it will rally up to 11,000. I haven't checked what the next resistance is, but psychological resistance is 11,000, right?
Okay.
I think we shot up to 11.5
today.
Correct?
Today.
Yeah.
We go all
the past 24 hours.
No. We got up to about 10.3. 10.3.
Yeah, I didn't see.
10.3. Sorry, 10.3. Yeah, 10.3.
Holy crap.
10.3.
No, sorry. It's 10.3. Sorry, 10.3.
I think early February, we got up to like 11.5. So the top for this year.
Pre-lockdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, so probably that 11,000 to 11.5 is going to be the next resistance, right?
Okay, interesting. Okay.
I got a quick summary question for everybody in the panel. Does everybody think we're ready for like the next one here?
I am.
What do you mean ready?
I mean, do we think?
It's
my body is ready, Justin. My body is ready.
You've been working out for this.
Yeah.
My hair is long enough now. I'm ready.
No, but like on a more serious note, I think now is the time to consolidate your transactions, send them out if you need to while it's cheap. Open up if you think you're going to spend, or even if not, like just for fun, open up Lightning channels, get a wallet, open it up. So if you decide to buy coffee with it, when that might, if that's available sometime soon, then
digital gold. I don't think you're going to pay for a coffee with digital gold.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll do it for fun, but right, like beyond that, I'd rather spend my pesos to buy coffee.
Yeah, I want to be the next guy that's like a $10,000 pizza story in 10 years.
Yeah,
nice.
With a cup of coffee. and have maybe Tim Hortons will name a special coffee day after me, like they did for that guy, Papa John's.
Nice.
I wanted to mention that article on stock to flow pricing, and now I've lost it. So it's basically said the ratio of how much is already on the market compared to how much is actually available to buy on the market or to get on the market. And gold has a ratio of 62, silver has a ratio of 22, and Bitcoin's at 50. So the higher the rating, the more valuable it is for investors. So so his forecast, the model itself hasn't proven wrong. So he said it's basically 18-month trajectory to take it up to 100,000. Based on other assets.
So I do think that these various pricing models, it's kind of hard to speak about them very kind of in summary, right? Because there is some detail there that deserves to be kind of dug through. So depending on kind of how things go over the next couple of weeks, it might be worth it to do an episode on kind of these various ways to look at the price and model the kind of the future.
And perhaps compare them with other asset classes. Now, would you invest in gold or Bitcoin, or is it silver or platinum or futures or whatever?
Yeah. Okay. Justin, I think you need to give me back the screen share.
Stopping there.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to go back now to this really quick. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I think we should do our first raffle break, because it's been about 20 minutes now. We've got about 30 people on the chat. So let's do, actually, wait. Oh, I just realized wait, how do I do this?
Now you know it works.
Now I do know it works. So I need to figure out how to get the link of this first. Wow, this is really complicated. Actually, we should probably go to do the next thing while I figure this out now. Okay, actually, so Paulo Del Puerto is here with us today. He is the CEO and co-founder of Moneybees. So in case you guys don't know, Moneybees and its kind of family of companies, these guys are kind of some of the original, the OGs of Bitcoin in the Philippines. No? So they've been around longer than quite a few of us have. Kind of trying to turn crypto into the viable business that it is now. And they've been doing it since 2013, 2014, and really doing the grassroots type work. Pao, tell us a little bit about what Moneybees is doing these days.
So we started to dabble with Bitcoin 2012. So and then around 2016, 2017, we took interest in doing OTC via these money changers. So we tried it out, right? And it was a viable business model. So we did it until 2018. We had to step back because of the regulation, right? So we had to go through the VCE licensing, and we got it just before the lockdown happened. So that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, definitely.
As opposed to waiting until the lockdown done.
So it took you 4 years to get it.
Sorry.
It took you 4 years to get the VC.
No. Before we were operating, there was no regulations yet, right? So
yeah.
Right. So now we have partner money changers, but of course we are also looking at what's going to happen after the lockdown, right? We see one reason why we got into money changers is because we want to do grassroots, and we want to make transactions happen as quickly as possible, right? So cash in, there's no cash in. It's more of you buy, you give the money changer the cash, and you receive the Bitcoin, right? So it's technically like making it akin to Forex, right?
Right.
So, but now, since most people would probably not visit a money changer much anytime soon, we're also looking into doing online transactions, but still with the same model, right? So instead of kaliwaan, like cash and I give you cash, you give me Bitcoin. It's more of back transfers. We're also looking into doing the e-wallet transfers as well. But we're constantly exploring, right? So moving forward, we're also on Paxful. If you want to trade with us, right? And now you can chat with us in our Facebook page to start the transaction.
Nice.
So there, yeah. And as with any other company right now, we're still looking into what's going to happen really, right? After the GCQ. Will people really? We see people flocking the balls already. So it might be opposed to what we're thinking, that people won't be going to money changers. But yeah, we're getting ready for what's going to happen next.
Can I ask a question about the idea of someone who is likely to go to a remittance center like somewhere like this, money changer, to buy Bitcoin? Are they the kind of people that would be expected to buy Bitcoin? Because usually people that buy Bitcoin are kind of more educated, usually have bank accounts, and they can in different ways.
Yeah, well, in our experience, it's a mixed bag, but of course, most are still traders, right? So most are the ones who want to cash in or cash out in exchanges that don't have cash in, cash out of peso. But we do have some people buying from us that are, surprisingly senior citizens, so they know about Bitcoin, right? And there are some that are just walk-ins, right? They want to know more about Bitcoin, and they have this wallet that they have that they want to put Bitcoin in, so they try it out, right? So it's a mixed bag, but bulk still are the ones who speculate, right, and who invest in it. But we're looking into changing that, right, to more of the other people who are looking into Bitcoin, not just the traders.
And you don't have the problem of Bitcoin's a scam, I'm not going to buy any. Do you still have that, or is the education getting better?
Well, I think education is getting better, but there are some who don't know anything about Bitcoin who automatically thinks it's a scam, right? And the things the scams that you talked about last week, right? And all the other scams that running aren't really helping, right? So but since we are in money changers that are legit, right? Of course, they see it. They have physical stores. It helps. It helps very much because they know where to go back to. They know, and usually these are known brands already. They've seen it for years now, so that kind of helps removing that stigma.
Do you have to train the money changers and remittance centers to say what happens, and when you say, "I've lost my private key, can I have my money back?"
Well, we have some tech that we deploy in in the
hey, the more you get it out there, the better for someone like me who holds as a hodler. So the more the merrier.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. So I think that if your schedule allows, it would be great if you could come on again over the next few weeks or whatever to kind of update us on how things are going with you guys. I think that for a lot of us right now, there's a really big question mark about what will happen after June 15th. I guess we don't really know what will happen, even if maybe June 15th will actually just turn into yet another date that we will just fly right away and we will still be in lockdown. I don't know. But yeah, we're always trying to get as many of the crypto startups in the country represented here on the show so that we can kind of, just talk shop and, just ideally, build off each other's strengths, right? If there's stuff here that we can share and collaborate on, I think this is great.
Definitely, Paola, you can work with me. I'm an EMI, with the e-wallet, so definitely.
Sure. Yeah, we can talk about that.
Any deals that are struck on Bloom's Cast gets a commission. Just a quick disclaimer there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And on that note, I think it's time to give away some money. All right. So I'm gonna. So I finally figure out how to make this work. Okay, April. So here's what we're gonna do, huh? I'm gonna hit the start button. It's gonna run the raffle thing. And then I guess you'll have to go into the live stream and find that person. Okay.
Okay. Do I have to find them right away?
Well, no naman. As long as we took note of the name. I hope that Archeline is watching also because I'm gonna need help kind of making sure we don't forget. Okay, here we go. And I hope my soundboard works. It's like I tried to make sure that
drum roll.
Oh, you have sound effects.
It worked. I'm just so happy. Okay. So Jerome Eugenio, is he in the chat? Okay, so here's what we need to do now. We need to make sure that he's in the chat. This is what Archeline was saying earlier. We need to make sure the guy is in the chat, and then we'll get back to that later. Okay, great. Here we go. All right. Wow. We've got 2 more of those guys. So people listening, please leave comments. Don't forget that we won't actually add your name to the list unless you comment. You can just say hi. You can, you could be like JR and say that he actually has some opinions that I didn't get to read. He said that he thinks that the next major resistance is at $10,500. He also agrees that if BTC stays at this level within a couple of days, it will touch 11,000 within a week. Okay, all right. Definitely from the...
you remember, Louis, a few years ago when you kept posting 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, those
the paintings. Yeah, the illustrations.
So it might jump just as fast. If people are saying it's going to go to 100K, it might jump up that fast.
Hope not.
So what Mark is talking about, back in 2017, I was actually, every time that the Bitcoin price crossed $1,000, so went from $5,000 to $6,000 to $7,000, I would draw a new cartoon to commemorate that price. But after $10,000, it was just happening so fast that I couldn't keep up anymore. So I was like, you know what? This is stupid at this point. Like it just becomes kind of useless because the time between $10,000 and $20,000 was 3 weeks. So basically, I would have had to make 10 illustrations in 3 weeks' time. It basically turns into a full-time job at that point, right? And then we were only at $20,000 for a few days. So it was kind of...
Did you ever make a 21,000 one or 22,000?
No.
Okay, so you stopped at 20,000?
Yeah, I stopped at 10.
You stopped at 10, okay.
Yeah. And then, actually, so last year, when we were still kind of in the $10,000 to $15,000 range, I actually have a $15,000 cartoon that I never used. Because we never hit 15,000.
We didn't, yeah.
And then I was like, so it's just sitting here. I'm still waiting for a reason to use it. The problem is, it was a Game of Thrones themed cartoon, and I'm like, wow, people don't really. Yeah, it's like very, very dated, and like also that show didn't end very well. So people are not even gonna like it so much. Anyway, so it is what it is. I'll probably still use it. Sayang, eh? Like, already went to the
I want to know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so there you go. Something to look forward to. $15,000. Let's see if we'll actually hit that. Okay, so this is the Bloom School kind of segment for the show for this episode. This is actually one of the questions that we've been getting a lot of very recently. Again, because we've got a lot of beginners who are asking us for advice, no? And a lot of people don't actually know that there is a very important distinction, a very, very, very big difference between two types of crypto wallets. And for simplicity's sake, I'll just say for two types of Bitcoin wallets for now, just to keep things a little simpler. So one is the custodial type and one is the non-custodial type. And if you've never heard those terms before, the key word here is custody. Custody means who is in possession of something, like who has it and who parang takes care of it, who is responsible for it, right? So some examples so that we know what we're talking about. These are three custodial wallets that some of you will probably be very familiar with. One is, the Philippines' largest crypto wallet is Coins.ph. They've been around for a really long time, 2013 also. Abra, another big one. These guys are based in San Francisco, but they have a really big community here in the Philippines. And a lot of people, their first Bitcoin wallets were Abra wallets. And I'll confess, I've never actually used Abra. Has anyone on the panel actually used Abra? Miko, okay. Yeah. What's the experience like for you, Miko? You're muted.
Well, Abra is a kind of good alternative. They have a sizable network of pawn shops and cash out outlets as well. Okay. For banking, they can process your cash outs for bank transactions. They can also process your cash ins. Yep. And I think it takes 3 working days for them. They're last I checked, they're not yet on InstaPay. Mm-hmm. So nothing of the 10-minute thing that's with coins, but in terms of rates, based on the feedback on Binance community, Abra at times offers more competitive rates, and I think they support a different set of crypto. I think they support, aside from Bitcoin, I think they support ETH, Litecoin, and BCH. I think.
I think there's a bunch, and then they also have stocks now or something. Like I remember that they.
But I think those are CFDs, right?
Yes, correct. So technically not stock. Contract for difference. It's a derivative of a stock. So technically not. Anyway, stock talk, not technically part of the show anymore. But there's a small difference. There. Okay, sige. And you were saying that Abra prices were sometimes better, Miko?
Yeah. Like people compare, of course, when you're the market leader, understandably some rates, the rates tend to be higher there.
Yeah.
Coins, but so sometimes they explore alternatives for that, and we've seen from a lot of community feedback that Abra at times offers that. I think there's no definite study yet that compares rates across multiple exchanges. That would probably be good to explore for our nascent.
Who wants to fund? That's a very worthy study to do.
Bitpinas or whoever wants to have some traffic come his way with in terms of the content, that would be
I've actually invited Mike from Bitpinas a few times, but he declines because he was saying his internet connection is not so great. But I've always tried to get him on the show. It would be great to have a journalist also on the panel, I think. Okay, so quick description, I guess, of what a custodial wallet is. essentially they are holding the crypto on your behalf, right? So it's like a bank. A bank, your BDO, your BPI account. Once you make the deposit, now they're holding it for you. Now your money is with them. They just show you a balance. If you want to use it, sometimes you have to withdraw it. Sometimes you can kind of use their own system to make payments or whatever. But generally speaking, they're holding it. Right? So that's kind of the main definition. The one other point that I wanted to make is that some of the other platforms that we have that we use very frequently, Paxful, Binance, most exchanges, they are also technically custodial wallets because they are holding your crypto on your behalf. Even though they're not like, with Binance and Paxful, there's so many more things going on there. No, but generally they're still kind of considered custodial wallets. So I want to kind of just do quick pros and cons. But if you guys have thoughts, please just jump in. This is actually kind of a summary of a talk that I did for CoinDesk a couple of weeks back. And a lot of people found it really useful. So I wanted to share it with our audience as well. So one of the most important pros when you're using a custodial wallet is that it's usually got a built-in way to buy and sell. And also, once you download coins.ph, once you download Abra, typically there's already a way for you within that wallet to get your first Bitcoin. Kind of it feels like you're just buying anything through e-commerce or some other digital asset. So it feels pretty familiar. Some of them will have insurance against theft or accidents. So Coinbase does. The security will feel pretty familiar. And when I say security, I mean there will be you will give your email, you will create a password, there will be some kind of two-factor authentication. All of that stuff we already know. So it's not super new. It's easier to get into. And finally, some of them also have some pretty useful features, right? So coins.ph, lots of people will use that for bills payment. I don't know what you guys like. Do you guys use coins.ph for stuff like that? I confess that I haven't opened my coins.ph account in a couple of years. But has anyone else here used them in a while? Paul, Mark?
It's pretty useful.
No.
Oh, April. Okay. Have you used it? So you've used it?
Yeah, I've used it for bills and payments. And there's also another way. Like if you claim payments through Western Union, you can claim it over coins.ph. You don't need to go to the store.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool. You're muted, Justin.
Sorry, it just goes directly into your wallet like that?
Yes.
Is that
yes.
what's in
your... Yeah.
Well, that's useful. Okay.
And also GCash also does that. You can also claim Western Union and MoneyGram payment, although it's not relevant anymore.
But this is not Bitcoin. This is you put pesos in and you pay the normal way. I don't know many people actually use their Bitcoin account to pay bills because they usually want to hang on to it and see it rise.
Sure, right. Fair enough. But I guess that the point is that these custodial wallets will tend to have a few more things, a few more bells and whistles. They won't just be this is how you hold your Bitcoin. There will be some other things. So let's go through the cons, naman, just to kind of compare it. Anthony Chua, great friend of the show, another one of the OGs of the Bitcoin community from Cebu. He's saying, "Not your keys, not your coins."
Yeah.
And what that means is that this is kind of a mantra of a lot of Bitcoin people, right? If you don't actually have your private keys, these coins are not yours because you've entrusted them to someone else. And in the case of, keeping your Bitcoin with coins.ph or Abra or whoever, you are entrusting that Bitcoin to someone else. So that really depends on you if you're comfortable with that. But part of the reason why Bitcoin was invented was precisely so you don't have to do that. So that was kind of one of the reasons. Another con, there's usually some pretty strict limits and restrictions on these guys because they're regulated entities, right? So coins.ph in a way is a lot more similar to Gcash than it is to a straight up Bitcoin wallet because it will have some limitations. It's too bad Belle is not on the chat right now, but she could talk at length about the various limits of Abra because she just had some money stuck there. So that's one of the things you have to remember when you're using one of these custodial wallets, that there will be some limits there. The other thing, identification is mandatory. You are going to be required to say who you are, provide information about yourself, possibly show a proof of address that you do live in a certain place. So there's like a bunch of different things that you're going to have to provide. I don't know if you guys remember what your first KYC experience was like, but like the first time I had to show that much information about myself, I felt really uncomfortable. I don't know about you. It's like, Pao, do you remember what your first KYC experience was like?
Yeah, it was pretty uncomfortable because you're giving away lots of, especially when I did my first transaction of Bitcoin. I think was, I forgot. I used to trade in. I used to buy from coins back then. But the thing was, my question was, I had to do KYC. That's the reason why I buy coins, right? Bitcoins, because I don't want to get KYC. So and then they get a lot of information about you.
So did you do it? Did you go through the whole process?
Actually, not right away, especially with a video call.
Right. I forgot about that. So, do they still do that now? I wonder if they still do.
No,
I think they look.
I don't know.
The requirements of the KYC are that you don't have to do that. So I don't know why they were doing that. They're going over the top with the video, and the fact that they were recording you and then keeping it that annoyed some lawmakers, and they said no, you can't do that anymore.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if it's. I actually thought it wasn't required either, but I've definitely seen some people.
It wasn't required.
Ask for
we don't need to do that. The BSP have told us we don't need to do the video recording. They just made it, and it's a little bit more complicated when you add that into the mix.
Interesting. Okay. So the last point I wanted to make is that when you're using a custodial wallet, generally speaking, and this is hard asterisk on this one, sometimes withdrawal fees can be expensive. So that's not always true, but sometimes it definitely is, and you can really feel the difference. Now, there's a lot of things going on here. Sometimes it's just because the network fee of Bitcoin just happens to be expensive already, and then the wallet, the custodial wallet, just happens to kind of increase it by a little, so they will make some money when they do the transfer for you. So sometimes it's just that, but other times it can be that they just price it a flat fee. I've definitely seen a lot of flat fee withdrawal fees. Some of them are 0.0005, and if you can't do the math, I just did it for you. It's about 300 pesos. So it's painfully high if you're trying to move 1,000 pesos worth of Bitcoin or something, right? So I mean, it also doesn't help that Bitcoin network fees are not so great right now. But it's even worse that if you have to kind of pay like a flat fee on it, especially if you're just doing small amounts. Does anyone else have any thoughts on kind of custodial wallets? Just like generally your thoughts on them?
The most important part everyone has to realize, and some of us have long memories about exchanges where we've lost money on it, where they've gone bust, and bang, is your money. And it's not like there's any protection. There's no federal insurance over your money in a bank. There's nothing, no protection on if an exchange or anyone goes bust and they're holding your Bitcoin. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah. I think that one of the things that Nichelle and PDAX was working on this quarter was they were trying to have some form of insurance.
It's really difficult to get insurance for holding Bitcoin. You've got to go through the hoops about how you store it. You should know. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I mean, so like if Nichelle come back next week, I think we should maybe revisit that. I believe he did find a way to do it. I just don't know what the kind of what the range were. It's like in the Philippines, if you're talking about the PDIC for your bank account, it's not unlimited, right? There is a ceiling to them.
But you should get something back.
Yeah, you will get something back. Right?
For me, I've decided, as a business, I don't want to hold Bitcoin. The risk involved and the insurance and everything else. And I want to go back to the roots, which is you should own your own Bitcoin. Unless you want to put a bid on exchange for an actual use. If you want to trade it, then you put a bid on there. But if you're not doing anything, take it back out and then hold it. Yeah, that's the main advice I'd offer people.
Okay. Okay. So here we go.
Yeah, actually, sorry, go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
Yeah, thing is with custodial wallets, you have to trust, right? You have to trust the entity that's holding your private key, right? Right. So, and even if you trust that entity with your private key, the question is, do you trust their security, right? There's a lot of things that can happen inside. So, it's pretty. That's the thing that you need to think about when doing custodial wallets. But on the other hand, it's the easiest way to go into Bitcoin, right? You can just sign up, familiar process, KYC, and logging in, and you don't have to think of all these things. So that's a trade-off,
right?
Of security. It's easier. It's for the masses. It's easier to just go in.
Yep.
Right. So I would think that custodial wallets can be the beginner's wallet, right?
Yep.
If you don't have much money, it can be your hot wallet where you use to spend or trade, right? And then you move over to the non-custodial wallet, because non-custodial wallets are actually a little bit harder to secure yourself. The responsibility is with you, right?
Yeah. Exactly. So, it's like a bank, right? Like most people.
Yeah, exactly. That's where you become your own bank.
Yeah.
Right. And there are several ways that you can I might be jumping forward here, but for non-custodial, there are several ways of making sure that you're secure, but it becomes a little bit more complicated, right? Especially for the common people.
Yeah. I mean, what if you pass away? What if you stuff like that, right? And you're not set up
that's one. And another one is just creating that wallet, right?
Yeah.
The most secure way is creating it offline. Right?
You definitely want to get an attorney on the call at some point to talk about like what happens with inheritance and stuff like that.
Yeah,
for stuff like this, I think that's all really important. Okay, sige. So let's move on to the non-custodial side, naman. Yeah. So this is we've mentioned a lot of these brands before. So actually, I'm repeating some of these names. No, so BRD is kind of my personal favorite for beginners because it's one of the simplest ones. Green is another great one. And then Mycelium is the one that, if you've been around since 2012 or 2013, this was probably the wallet you were using because you didn't have a lot of choices back then. BRD is relatively young compared to these guys, but it feels, I guess you could say it feels like a modern app. So when I show it to people, usually they'll kind of get it. They'll get it until we get to that blockchain syncing problem. But anyway, it feels pretty normal until you get to the kind of internal nitty gritty details of the blockchain. In which case, then you realize, oh, okay, this is a completely different world now. Are there any other? Sorry, before I move on to kind of the pros and cons, are there any other non-custodial wallets that you guys like? That you would mention?
These days, you end up having more than one cryptocurrency other than Bitcoin. So I like multi-currency wallets now. Like Konomi has multiple currencies.
Okay.
For us, we're testing out our non-custodial wallet. A little plug there. Tag Crypto, and that's Ethereum and ERC tokens, and Stellar tokens, and then Bitcoin. Those are the three. That's where most of the tokens are created.
Okay.
So people, if you want to get involved in things other than Bitcoin, there are a few other options. But see if anyone else knows. I use Mycelium because it works with offline paper wallets. So it works with cold storage, and I don't know any other wallets that do. Do you know?
Electrum.
No, I mean like mobile apps.
I don't know. That's a difficult feature to find, even on desktop apps.
Mycelium works really well, and I've used it many times over the last few years. So it depends on the purpose. If you're a beginner, like you say, BRD or Trust Wallet or whatever, and Mycelium for people that work with offline, with paper stored wallets or whatever. So it really depends on your usage. If you're going to trade, for example, or if you need to buy USD or DAI to pay bills and stuff like that, pay developers. So I think it depends on the purpose.
Right. Yeah. Miko Ilas, Mark just mentioned Trust Wallet. That sounds like something that you would be able to talk about?
We based ours on Trust Wallet. So I like Trust Wallet. It's super simple and it's a good example.
Yeah, actually I use Trust Wallet also.
Yeah, there you go. 2 votes of confidence.
I like, so these are Lightning enabled, but they can serve also as just plain Bitcoin wallets.
Mm-hmm.
But you have the benefit, if you load it, you have the benefit of being able to transact over Lightning, sending to a friend who also has the same one. So Phoenix is a good one. That's PHOENIX, and Breeze, BREEZ.
Right.
Without the last.
Breeze, yeah.
Interesting.
I think Raymond, you're going to have to do a whole show on Lightning.
Yeah. There's no, we will. That's I feel like that's kind of a little bit more advanced. But we definitely will want to talk about the Lightning Network at some stage. Okay. In the chat, we're seeing people say Coinomi and Jax. So JAXX.
They're both good.
Yeah, that's a multi-currency wallet. I think that's also a desktop app, right? So it's both mobile and desktop.
Yeah, Coinomi.
Jax is.
Jax is. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right.
JR in the chat is also pointing out that for small and fast transactions, custodial wallets are better since they don't ask for fees within that custodial wallet. I guess if it's like within the same ecosystem.
But my point of if you're going to do centralized transactions and smaller ones, you're not going to use a Bitcoin wallet. Most people hold Bitcoin for speculation. They're not going to spend it every day. So I don't think that's going to be used very much.
I think that maybe what JR is saying here is that if you are both Binance users and if you're day traders, if you're working with brokers, stuff like that. So your bread and butter is moving coins back and forth because you're trying to earn from that, right? So it's certainly very helpful if there's no fees. If it's just an internal transaction. And that's certainly the case with Binance. There's no fees there because they're not actually moving the crypto on chain. It's just happening in their database.
And then Anthony also wanted to point out that with a custodial wallet, when you lose your password or the exchange gets hacked, there's someone to run after. If the company is legitimate, then they can help you recover. But with a non-custodial, if you lose your keys or you don't back it up, then it's gone forever.
And which is a benefit to everyone else in the ecosystem.
Yeah, if you don't back up your private key and you lose your phone, you're dead.
Pretty much. Yeah. So the voice that you are hearing, chat, because I didn't actually introduce her, that's Tony Reyes. That's the voice of everyone's conscience in Bloom. She hasn't turned her video on because her internet's a little flaky though. But she is with us in our hearts. Pros and cons of non-custodial wallets. Anthony has already kind of mentioned some of them, right? But I'll go through them anyway. First is download and go. Right? Because there's no registration necessary. You don't have to ask for permission. As long as you can get it from the App Store, download it from the website of the creator or copy it from GitHub, you can usually get going pretty quickly. You'll have a working Bitcoin wallet in, basically a few seconds or minutes, and you can transact any amount that you want. What Paolo was saying earlier, only you will hold your Bitcoin. So all of the responsibility is on you. And if you forget to back up your private key and you lose your phone, that's basically it. No one can help you. There is no way for anyone to recreate your backup phrase or private key if you lost it or you didn't write it down. And that is kind of by design. That is kind of the design of Bitcoin to be like that. You will get access to the latest Bitcoin tech. So meaning if you're the kind of person who's into, I want my transactions to be SegWit, kind of SegWit compatible. I want that fancy new BC1 address. That's the stuff that matters to you. It's very hard to get that from custodial wallets because custodial wallets don't really prioritize being on the bleeding edge of Bitcoin. They're prioritizing, making sure that their database is secure, their servers are secure, all of that stuff. So it's a different set of priorities. You've probably already guessed that the security protocols are very different when you're talking about a non-custodial wallet. Paul, do you want to do like a very quick description lang of like that backup phrase that you were talking about?
Yeah, I mean, just make sure. Thing is, if for a non-custodial wallet, you have to learn how to secure your private key, right, or that backup phrase. So some people do it, you print it out, but the problem is if you're online, you print it out. There might be some malware or whatever in your computer that actually, gets that private key. And some, for the more paranoid ones, to be secure, is they create their non-custodial wallets offline, right? So you can generate a private key offline, and then that's when you print it, right? So that's what I meant by it becomes a little bit harder to make sure that it's secure. You have to be a little more techie, in a way, right? For you to be able to secure it.
It's both techie and non-techie, because what you're trying to protect is a piece of paper, which is kind of
but thing is there's still risk, right? So if you generate a private key online, right? Let's say in one of these wallets, or you just download a wallet that you don't really know, and it says it's non-custodial, and then they generate a private key for you. How would you know if that private key is only for you, right? I mean, they haven't stored it. So you, if you're techie enough, instead of print out, what you do is you download a Bitcoin core and put it in an offline computer, generate your transactions or your wallet there, right? So that's what I meant by being more techie and more secure. Right?
Yep. So I feel like I think we touched on this a little bit last week also, where we were talking about the different levels of security, depending on how much money you're trying to protect. You don't necessarily do this for a few thousand pesos worth of Bitcoin, but you'll definitely do it if we're talking tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, etc. Mon, did you have any thoughts on that stuff?
Just to add, I guess I think that if you're curious, fine, go custodial if you think it's easier. But compared to just 3-4 years ago, the wallets now, the non-custodial wallets, are really good.
Okay.
I remember that it would take days to research and find a wallet that looked okay, and then design a solution that I'd be happy with. But now, maybe that's half a day instead. So it still takes time, right? But,
big discount though. Big discount.
That's a big discount.
Okay. Anthony in the chat is recommending bare bones Bitcoin wallet called coinb.in. I've never used it myself. I don't know if you guys have used it. But this is the kind of thing, like Anthony gets pretty exotic with his choices, so this is an interesting one. Anyway, we will look that up and see if it's something that we can cover in a later show. So the last point is that customer support is pretty spotty. And, what this means really is that, so I had a very specific story about this, because a couple of weeks ago, one of our customers bought from us. He was using BRD, and the transaction basically took days to show up, right? So it was during the height of the Bitcoin network is very, very congested, etc. And I guess we didn't pay enough in the network fees. So the transaction took over a day and a half. And the customer emailed the BRD customer support to try to get some help. And, as you can probably expect, it's not like they've got a 24/7 massive call center of support agents waiting to help you, because BRD as a company, it's not like Abra or Coins.ph or Coinbase, where they are making money directly from your transactions or by selling you Bitcoin. They don't. BRD doesn't have that. So, if you're expecting that you are going to have some customer support concerns, this is going to be slightly tricky. Just doing it on your own, if you've never done it before, you're going to have to spend some time doing the homework. Granted, the Bloomcast is every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. So if you have any problems, just leave a question in the chat and we will try to help you. Or to the best of our abilities, obviously. So any other thoughts, guys, about non-custodial wallets? I think that, Mon, you were do you agree that that BRD or one of these other what's your recommended non-custodial wallet for beginners? Is there anyone else? Anything?
Yeah,
else?
I think I would go with what you guys said. I haven't used BRD in a long time.
I'm just doing a setup now, the BRD, and it's a bit long-winded.
Yeah. And it's also because like Mark says, I agree. I don't spend my Bitcoin, so everything is locked away, and even not easy for me to access, right? And I have like a small amount, like less than what I even have in my physical wallet in my back pocket. A small amount of Bitcoin on Lightning on my phone. That when I have meetups, the Bitcoin meetups, and I feel like giving away 1, 2, 5 pesos worth of Bitcoin, I can do it over Lightning instantly.
Right. Okay.
If you really wanted to show off that you got lots of Bitcoin in your phone, and a long time ago I wasn't showing off. I was just saying I basically had too much in my phone before thinking, wow, why am I doing this? If I lose my phone, But you can always put in just the public key of a high value wallet and say, look at my wallet.
Yeah.
So that's how the scams are done.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So final question to the panel. And this is one that I just realized it's actually quite. It needs a little bit more context. The typical customer that we're seeing a lot of, especially now during the lockdown, are people who are just I would say kind of just medium techie. So they're not like senior citizens where they're afraid of technology or anything like that. Just like mid-level familiarity with most tech. They want to get into Bitcoin because it's like a small potential sideline investment, right? And you can buy any amount. So that means you can come in for 1,000 or 5,000 pesos or something like that. So for this type of person, a lot of them will ask us, what kind of wallet should I use? Which one? I mean, after you've spent all this time explaining to me the differences, which should just tell me the answer, right? So I struggle with this one too, actually. And I wanted to maybe get you guys' thoughts on it. Pao, what would you say to that type of person?
Well, off the bat, I'll say, try out custodial first, so you don't have to have that, burden of thinking of, what is a private key? How do I secure it, right? Because if you have the way we look at non-custodial now amongst us, it's quite easy, right? Because we understand it.
Right.
We understand what private keys are, that we need to keep that secure, that you can transport a private key from another to another app if you know how to, right? But the fact that if you tell that guy to make sure that his phone or his laptop or his desktop or whatever computer that he has doesn't get lost, doesn't crash, doesn't get destroyed, that's a red flag for him, right? Okay. He would say that, I mean, what do you mean? It means that it's all forever tied up in my phone, in my laptop. So that's another string of questions again, and they become they don't trust themselves too much, right, to do that. Okay. And I suppose plus those guys need to know which ones are secure, right? There might be malware, there can even hardware. Non-custodial wallets are very risky if you don't know where it came from, right? So there are several risk points of risk, like even the shipping. What if it got switched by someone who put in something there, right? A malware or whatever, right? So it's
a lot
that's complicated, right? Yeah. As opposed to a custodial wallet, typically when people flock to it, and it's very public, right? It's a company that the people behind it, and you can see them, right? It's secure, right? It's somehow secure, right? It gives you that security, right? So it's still that transition from the thinking of I need a trustee like a bank to do this for me. I think we're still in that stage, right?
Okay.
We're still in that stage that, you know.
Mark Vernon, I can see you getting ready to kill someone.
If you're going to get into Bitcoin, you need to understand it. If you're buying it and you have no clue what a private key is or whatever, then you shouldn't be getting into Bitcoin. If you want to buy it, you should understand it. Even if you're going to buy a little bit, you should still understand a little bit about what you're doing.
Don't be willing to put the time in.
Yeah, don't invest in anything that you don't really understand.
Well, as with any tech, right? Any tech stuff, right? There's some things that you don't need to understand for now, right? Just to get into it, right? But for example, you don't need to understand how a smartphone works for you to do a
but the concept of Bitcoin is be your own man, own your own money, own your own value, not give it to someone else to manage. So if you're going to get into this, get into the spirit of it and own your own money, your own private key. See, my attitude is, sure, you can get them on board that way, but really you should be getting them straight into, if you're going to sell it, straight into a wallet that you can recommend and say, now you own it, take care of it. If you lose it, you've lost it. So I think that should be the main message when you're getting when people are buying Bitcoin, even for the first time.
Yeah,
that's my.
Montayag, you are the most conservative Bitcoiner I know. What are your thoughts on this?
So I mean, this is what Mark said a while ago. Like, so obviously, if you're going to be trading it and it's not something you're hodling, sure. If you think you're going to trade it in a few days or something, leave it on that exchange where you're going to do your business, right? You don't want to have to send out Bitcoin, and if the fees happen to be expensive and the server and the exchanges that support Lightning Network, which is an interesting mix, by the way, the exchanges that support Lightning Network. But if it happens to be the case that the fees are high when you want to sell it, then you might take a day or two and you'll miss that bull run, that little bull run. But the Bitcoins you intend to hold for, over a month, if Bitcoin behaves like it did in the last 10 years, that 10,000 pesos might become 200,000 pesos, right?
Right.
I'll just quickly say something as well.
Yeah, man.
In the sense of, I agree with what everyone's saying here in terms of educating themselves and knowing how to secure your coins. But at the same time, these custodial wallet providers, the exchanges, have done tremendously for endorsing Bitcoin or for getting us to where we are right now, let alone price discovery as well. The markets follow the prices on the custodial wallets, on the exchanges. So they are, in my view, a necessary layer before we get to that future where, look, the non-custodial wallets are super easy to use, the fees are really small, and it's easy for me to teach my mom how to use it. But
so maybe it's the difference between hosting your own website and your own server and then just using a product like Wix or whatever to get them to do it for you. So it's the ease of use.
Yeah, I think it's necessary at an ascent industry that you need to have that.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I don't see how many Bitcoin wallets are now are non-custodial versus custodial, and the price isn't here where it is right now. If it was all just non-custodial wallets, that's for sure. You're not getting as much trading action or
right.
So
yeah. There you go.
Half of all value is being held at the moment, not being moved at all. So the rest.
Right, but the price follows what's on the exchanges, what's on the custodial wallets, right? And if you're going to sell your coins, the fastest way you're going to sell your coins right now, if it gets to 100 tomorrow, is probably going to be on an exchange, not on.
Right.
So that's an interesting fact that a lot of people were withdrawing from exchanges and holding it. That's one of the statistics being less and less held on exchanges and more people holding it now. So
that's bullish sentiment, right?
I'm all for that, though.
Bullish sentiment, yeah.
Huh. I mean, that's fine. I mean, it means that the market is getting more sophisticated also, right? People are learning how to take this stuff into their own hands, literally. And that's what you want. But, you don't get there immediately. It takes a lot of work. Hopefully our little show in our little corner of the internet will help some people kind of make that leap also at some stage.
I'm just wondering in 5 years' time, where most people will be holding it non-custodial or custodial, because then we've gone through the learning curve and people understand it a lot more. What will be, it depends on the usage, I guess.
I mean, in 5 years' time, we're going to have 9.5 billion humans on, in the world. I don't think they're all going to be using it.
That's supposing that all of them are going to be using Bitcoin.
Yeah. I hope Lightning works by then. Oh my God, that's going to be rough. Okay. Final thoughts, guys. We're running out of time, and I got 2 more prizes to give out. So
there's a question. It's not exactly related. It's just in a similar sphere. Tony,
sure, please.
Read it out.
Yeah, so this has nothing to do with wallets. Hold on, it was like much earlier on in the show, but
okay.
There was a question on your thoughts on China creating its own coin.
I have thoughts on this.
Yeah. Where do we start?
Next episode, I think that's deep water.
Another show, I think.
Do you think that would be worth an episode's discussion?
Well, stable coins, yes.
Yeah, I think stable coins and linking Bitcoin into it, especially for the area you're in, for international remittances, and how it's moved on in 5 years. Can you still use that? Would you use stable coin? Yeah.
We could get a special guest in for that, Luis. I think somebody who is in the industry also intimately with specifically China can share about that.
So maybe Tony, we'll table that one because it's big enough that we don't want to do like 2 minutes. It's just not going to give it justice.
Yeah.
No worries. Okay, this might be. Yeah, so the commenter said he's happy to have it tackled on another episode. Might be related, asking for thoughts on .crypto, .zil wallet domains.
Do you know this one? I don't know that one.
No, I never heard.
What is that?
Okay. Something we'll need to look into. Sorry, JP.
Anything other than .com is waste of money.
All right.
Wait. Oh, no, I know what this is. Sorry, this is so you're trying to, it's like .eth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. Okay, I do know what this is. I'm sorry. So it's like, actually, I'm not a fan of this because it really identifies yourself, doesn't it? So I know the .eth version because like one of my my art donors was saying I should get like CryptoPop.eth, but I can just give people that, and then when they want to donate to me, they don't even need to see my Ethereum address. They'll just type CryptoPop.eth, which is great in theory, but I don't actually want to leave a trail that way. Not that I'm making so much money from CryptoPop that I'm afraid to get taxed or anything. That's not it. It's just like, because from that conduit, they can basically trace what you're doing with it, right? So you're leaving a trail for yourself when you identify this way. By the way, if I am talking out of my butt, someone please correct me. But that's what I understood from the .eth domains, but I'm not sure if it's exactly the same.
By the way, I have a simple answer on on the question about the central bank currencies, and that is it will allow the central government to track everything you spend, but it will make things much more open and much more transparent, much more open, and allow a lot more fintechs and companies to be involved to use digital money. But if you don't mind being tracked and everything you do, supervised by the government, then no problem.
Whew. Okay, so that's a tall order.
Government trust is all-time high right now, right, guys?
Oh yeah. I am 100% behind the current administration. This is all recorded, by the way, so I have to say that.
I'm not getting into this. I'm a foreigner. I have no thoughts.
There's the anti-tether bill. You might want to.
Oh gosh, that's another episode.
No. Oh, we're not gonna touch politics on the show. It's already kind of like.
Okay, I might get deported.
Going back to custodial and non-custodial wallets.
Yes, please.
It seems like the comments are quite aligned. So there's Jomel, Ian, and JR, I think, were saying if you're looking at short-term use, so I guess for trading or for paying stuff, for spending, then custodial is fine. But everyone agrees that for long term, and if you really want to be a hodler, then it should be non-custodial. There was even, Anthony even mentioned, you can even put it in a time-locked address. So I guess that ensures you don't touch it for a while.
I told you Anthony was going to do the exotic option. Okay.
All right. But it's the same as a bank. If you've got cash or bank or e-wallet, you move it into an e-wallet that gives you usage. And then, but you don't store a lot of money in that. You store it in a bank account or under the mattress. So it's exactly the same thing for cash as well as crypto.
Okay. Okay, guys, I'm going to have to cut it short because we're really running out of time and I need to give away this. April needs to give this money away. Here we go. We're going to do this one more time. Okay. Hey, April.